So last week, we saw 3 more plagues that struck Egypt. Today we're going to go through another 5, I think. Who's this guy? At least you remember his name?
Moab?
Not Moab. Moses. And what's his brother's name? Aaron. Not Eric. Aaron. Ariel, who's this guy? Pharaoh. Is he a good Pharaoh?
No.
There were some of them, but he is not one of those good pharaohs, no. Moses said to Pharaoh, "This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go so that they may worship me. If you refuse to let them go and continue to hold them back, the hand of the Lord will bring a terrible plague on your livestock in the field, on your horses, donkeys, and camels, and on your cattle, sheep, and goats. But no animal belonging to the Israelites will die." The Lord set a time and said, "Tomorrow the Lord will do this in the land."
Well, so God sent the bubonic plague for cows.
The very next day, the Lord did it just as he said. All the livestock of the Egyptians died.
The next day will they be alive?
Yeah, you know what you use donkeys for? They're like cars. Can you imagine if all the cars in Baldwin broke down the very same day? What? I wouldn't have wanted to touch that meat. Oh my goodness. All the livestock of the Egyptians died, but not one animal belonging to the Israelites died. Pharaoh even investigated and found that not even one of the animals of the Israelites had died. Yet his heart was unyielding, and he would not let the people go. Yes. What is the next plague? So then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Take handfuls of soot from the furnace and have Moses toss it in the air in the presence of Pharaoh. It will become fine dust over the whole land of Egypt, and festering boils will break out on people and animals throughout the land." So they took soot from a furnace and they threw it out over the land. And festering boils broke out on people and animals. The magicians could not even stand in the presence of Pharaoh because it was so bad, and the boils had broke on them so bad. The Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, that he would not listen to Moses and Aaron, just as the Lord had said to Moses. Do you think Pharaoh is going to relent yet? Nope. What? Alright. So then the Lord said to Moses, "Get up early in the morning, confront Pharaoh, and say to him, 'This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go.'" I'm on the wrong one. We'll come back to the throne room. Alright. Thank you. "This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go so that they may worship me, or this time I will send the full force of my plagues against you. Therefore, at this time tomorrow I will send the worst hailstorm that has ever fallen on Egypt. Give an order now to bring your livestock to a place of shelter, because the hail will fall on every person and animal that has not been brought in and is still out in the field, and they will die." Now some of the officials of Pharaoh feared the word of the Lord, and they ran off to get their slaves and their livestock and bring them inside. But some didn't. Zach? Then the Lord said, "Stretch out your hand toward the sky, so that hail will fall all over Egypt, on people and animals, and on everything growing in the fields of Egypt. So when Moses stretched out his staff toward the sky, the Lord sent thunder and hail, and lightning flashed from the sky.
Can we help? Dad, can we help?
Yep, I've got some hail that you can send out on the land.
What? This is easy hail.
Yeah, no, that's like basketball size hail. And if you put it on a pyramid, it looks like a glacier coming down. Yep, this is hail.
Can I put on these?
No, let me get. Yes, that fell down on the ground. You're right. Get a good lightning bolt here. No, oh yeah, you can put that one on there too.
Oh, can I put it on?
Alright, is that a good hailstorm?
This is not. This is not looking like any of them.
We need a lot more hail, don't we? Because the ground ends up white.
Yeah.
It was the worst storm in all the land of Egypt since it had become a nation, and throughout Egypt, hail struck everything in the fields. Both the people, and it hit the animals,
Are those dead
and
people?
it stripped all the greenery off of all the trees. So all the palm fronds fell down, scattered across the landscape. And the only place that it didn't hail was where the Israelites were living. Guess where they were living?
Where?
Goshen.
Where's Goshen? Yeah, where's
A little further away from the Nile River. It was a good place to be during that hailstorm.
I thought it was
So
probably
then
there's
Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, "This time I have sinned," he said to them. "The Lord is in the right, and I and my people are in the wrong. Pray to the Lord, for we have had enough thunder and hail. I will let you go. You don't have to stay any longer." Moses replied, "When I have gone out of the city, I will spread out my hands in prayer to the Lord. The thunder will stop, and there will be no more hail, so that you may know that the earth is the Lord's. But I know that you and your officials still do not fear the Lord God." So then Moses left Pharaoh and went out of the city. He spread out his hands toward the Lord. The thunder and the hail stopped, and when Pharaoh saw that the rain and hail and thunder had stopped, he sinned again. He and his officials hardened their hearts, just as the Lord had said through Moses. They're like perpetual optimists. That plague went away. Maybe another one won't come. So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said to him, "This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. How long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go. If you refuse to let them go, I will bring locusts into your country tomorrow. They will cover the face of the ground so that it cannot be seen, and they will devour what little you have left after the hail, including every tree that is growing in your fields." Then Moses turned and left Pharaoh.
Wait, so did Moses pray for them or did God?
God was doing the plagues. Moses was a spokesman.
I have a question.
No. So then Pharaoh's officials said to him, "How long will this man be a snare to us? Let the people go so that they may worship the Lord their God. Do you not yet realize that Egypt is ruined?" Then Moses and Aaron were brought back in front of Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said, "Go, worship the Lord your God, but tell me who will be going." And Moses answered, "We will go with our young and our old, with our sons and our daughters, and with our flocks and our herds, because we are to celebrate a festival to the Lord." Pharaoh said, "The Lord be with you. If I let you go along with your women and children, clearly you are bent on evil. No, have only the men go and worship the Lord, since that's what you've been asking for." Then Moses and Aaron were driven out of Pharaoh's presence. Wasn't a good day for Egypt, was it?
No.
You know what a locust is?
No.
Like a grasshopper. Except when you get huge swarms of them, they eat everything that is green. Moses stretched his staff over Egypt, and the Lord made an east wind blow across the land all that day and all that night. And by morning the wind had brought locusts, swarms. Epic biblical plague. Never before had there been such a plague of locusts. They settled down in every area of the country in great numbers. They covered the ground until it was black, and they devoured everything that was left after the hail, everything growing in the fields and the fruit on the trees. Nothing green remained.
That was one bad place.
So Pharaoh quickly summoned Moses and Aaron back.
But you did put them away.
Yes, he did just send them away. He's kind of fickle, isn't he? Changes his mind. His officials might have had something to say to him. He said, I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. Now forgive my sin once more and pray to the Lord your God to take this deadly plague away from me. Moses then left Pharaoh and prayed to the Lord, and the Lord changed the wind to a very strong west wind, which caught up the locust and carried them into the Red Sea. Not a locust was left anywhere in the wind in Egypt. The Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites go. So then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward the sky so that darkness spreads over Egypt, darkness that can be felt. And do you know what happened when he stretched out his hand over the land of Egypt? Darkness. This is actually felt darkness too. Darkness that could be felt all through the land of Egypt. No one could see anyone else or move about for 3 days. Darkness covered the land of Egypt for 3 whole days.
So where's the other people?
They all stayed inside their homes. They couldn't move about. Yet all the Israelites had light in the places where they lived. So then Pharaoh summoned Moses and said, go worship the Lord your God. Even your women and children may go with you, only leave your flocks and herds behind. But Moses said, you must allow us to have sacrifices and burnt offerings to present to the Lord our God. Our livestock too must go with us, not a hoof is to be left behind. We have to use some of them in worshiping the Lord our God, and until we get there, we will not know what we are to use to worship the Lord. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he was not willing to let them go. So Pharaoh said to Moses, get out of my sight. Make sure you do not appear again before me. The day that you see my face, you will die. So Moses said, just as you say, I will never appear before you again. We'll have to wait next week to find out about the 10th plague. Leave you in suspense.